of reactions from every faction perhaps of the Congress right now, if I can call them that, and each of them says only one thing: High Command will decide. High time perhaps the High Command decides, but so far there seems to be no indication of that happening right now. But getting back into the discussion with Preeti, Rajdeep and Maria, who joined us here, teleported from our Noida studio right here to the Vidhan Sauda. Preeti, you were making a point really about how the High Command really needs to step in. This is a very different situation from what we saw in Rajasthan. DK Shivkumar is not going to cow down. He's going to make it very clear that he needs his slice of the power pie. So accommodation here perhaps is the biggest challenge for the High Command, whichever way they go.
You know, Akshita, where you say it's a very different situation, I actually feel that in the Congress, the more things change, the more they remain the same. I don't see it much difference in terms of how the High Command has failed to exercise their writ and crack the whip. And I'll give you many examples. You know, we are talking about just the case of Rajasthan. Yes, Rajasthan is a case. So is Punjab. There was the Congress had a clear shot at Punjab, but of the infighting. At that point of time, you had a Priyanka Gandhi who was part of that proverbial High Command that stood by Sidhu. See where Sidhu is today and look where Amrinder Singh is today. So, you know, that has been an issue. The same problem pulled out in Chhattisgarh. Of course, the dynamics were very different then. Look at what happened in Madhya Pradesh, where an entire government fell at the back of it. So all of this has happened because the High Command hasn't cracked the whip. Now, the High Command is weak. One of the main reasons it is weak is it has nothing really to offer. How do you give? Rajdeep is right with the point that I had made right in the beginning, Naga and Akshita. How do you give Siddaramaiah an honorable exit? Where do you accommodate the likes of Ashok, Gehlot? What do you do with the likes of Kamal Nath? What do you do with the likes of Amrinder Singh? Where you don't have anything to give them, then these power struggles, especially when you have two very strong leaders in a state like Karnataka, will ensue, which will once again test the High Command.
That's right, Maria.
Yeah, Naga.
Maria, when Congress was dealing with Rajasthan, they were dealing with a person called Sachin Pilot and T.S. Singh Dio in Chhattisgarh. Make no mistake, DK Shivkumar is no Sachin Pilot or no T.S. Singh Dio. When it comes to other state leaders, he's always ensured that the Congress party gets victory by supporting the Madhya Pradesh.
Beyond Karnataka.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, DK Shivkumar 100% will do something more than expected to ensure that he becomes the chief minister. It's now or never for him.
Look, as I've been saying, he is the key troubleshooter of the Congress party. Right now, he travels to multiple states to ensure that the Congress House is in order. There have been multiple crises. He's the crisis manager as well and has delivered for the Congress leadership. This is the right time for the Congress leadership to actually value their own words. If they have made a promise to a leader, that word should be kept, is the sense that I certainly have. I've been speaking to leaders on both the sides. The fact is that the Congress has a full control over its government. This will be the right time to usher in that change, where it can be about governance, that 50% of the work has been done. It's need for a generational change. Because when the Congress made that promise 2.5 years ago, I'm sure they would have done some calculation. It cannot be just to keep a leader's ambition on hold. That's why I'm maintaining that this is not about personal ambition of DK Shivkumar. This is about the credibility of the Congress High Command.
You need a DK Shivkumar to manage the DK Shivkumar crisis in Karnataka.
Look at how things have changed. And take Karnataka.
No, I agree. But to me, Rajdeep, the 2.5-year formula, to me, actually was to kind of control the situation then, was to ensure things don't go out of hand. To me, that's what it was. It was firefighting at that point, thinking we'll deal with it later.
Absolutely. But look at how things have changed. Through the 1980s, in a state like Karnataka, the Congress committed one self-goal after the other harakiri, but based on arbitrary decisions taken by the High Command. Devraj Ars, arguably the first major mass leader from the backward caste community who had emerged in the 1970s as the #1 Neta of Karnataka, tangled with Sanjay Gandhi, eventually had to find his way out. The Congress lost the 1983 election, and for the first time you had a real non-Congress government in Karnataka with Ramakrishna Hegde becoming. Virendra Patil, 1989, came to power with a huge majority, 170, topmost Lingayat leader of the time. What happens? Few months later, Rajiv Gandhi publicly announces at the HAL headquarters that Virendra Patil is out. He's replaced by a number of leaders. There is Bangarappa comes in for a while. There are other leaders who get their place in the sun. What happens? The next election, the Congress again gets dismantled. So the Congress has had a history in states like Karnataka of taking arbitrary decisions, but they could get away to some extent with it because the Congress was the #1 national party. Today, the Congress is struggling for relevance at the center. In such a moment, the last thing the Congress can do is in the one state which is seen to be the, some call it the ATM of the Congress, the other call it the last bastion of the Congress. You can't take a risk.
Chief Minister Siddaramaiah time and again has been making statements that he will retire at 2028 and this is his last stint from electoral politics. So how can the captain of the ship himself retire going into a big final?
Look at me, my friend Nagarjun. After every election, I say I'm retiring. I don't retire. Why should Siddaramaiah retire? Nobody retires, boss.
Yes. Sir, 2028 election on my plate in Karnataka. Sir,
I will.
Rajdeep, promise the audience right now. 2028 election on my plate.
Come on, Rajdeep.
In Vidyarthi Bhavan, we will eat together, shooting the election on my plate.
No, there was a time when Siddaramaiah apparently famously, Shivkumar, when he became the Karnataka Congress president, there was a lot of opposition initially to him. And Siddaramaiah had quietly stoked that opposition. And Shivkumar told someone who met him, you see, my problem is I was trying to play chess while Siddaramaiah was playing football. You see, that's the problem with some of these leaders. Siddaramaiah, old-style politician. He will patiently play the game and strike just when if you give him 3 months, 3 months can easily become 3 years. That's why you're right. Shivkumar knows now or never.
No, yes.
If he has to strike, he has to strike within these 6 months and get at least 2 years in the Chief Minister's chair. If he prolongs this, and I think it will not get settled till March at least, that's my sense.
I agree.
I think you will have a situation possibly where Shivkumar will be assured again.
And also,
we will make the change in March.
Also, Akshita, then you are laying down precedents. By doing this, then you are laying down precedents that a generational shift is in order. Then there is an election in Rajasthan. Then you make clear that Sachin Pilot will be your face. Then you'll have to make very tough decisions if you make this decision.
What happens to your OBC plank? Rahul Gandhi has been going around the country saying we want more OBC leaders and you're going to remove your one OBC mass leader. So it's a tough situation. Let's be honest. Let's be fair for once to the Congress High Command. It's not an easy decision to take. Narendra Modi has the political equity to do what he wants in a state like Gujarat. Amit Shah can impose a Mohan Yadav somewhere. You can have a Bhajan Lal Sharma. The BJP, the Congress can't do that.
But there's a difference, Rajdeep, because in BJP, it is Prime Minister Modi who's also winning states for the party.
Sure, exactly.
That is the reason why they can decide the Chief Minister after elections.
That's why, Maria, you could have an Indira Gandhi do exactly what she wanted in the 1970s. There's a famous story. Baba Sahib Bhosle was made the Chief Minister of Maharashtra overnight, plucked out of... One of the editors at the time told me our biggest challenge was, and this is before Google came in, how do we do a profile of Baba Sahib Bhosle because we didn't have anything about him. All we knew is that he's a barrister and he's been elected once or twice he'd been elected, but that's not enough to run a full profile. Suddenly, late in the night, Indira Gandhi decides to pluck Baba Sahib Bhosle out of nowhere. So that's happened in the Congress.
Look at the fate of Karnataka.
You're saying, Rajdeep, that the Congress High Command doesn't have it easy. I agree with you that this is a very difficult situation, but they've put themselves in it. They've dug this hole, Rajdeep. They've put themselves in the situation where they're having to take a pick. And you didn't nip it in the bud, you allowed it to drag on.
That's because, Akshita, there is this ridiculous concept of 2.5 years, 2.5 years secret deal. Politics में कुछ secret नहीं होता है. अगर बोलना तो
who introduced it? It was the High Command.
Apparently they shook hands on it.
This word High Command should go.
They created that situation.
There is neither high nor command left.
Which most leaders do, but Akshita flip it.
It's the word of the day in Karnataka, the High Command.
Flip the argument, Akshita. What DK Shivkumar went to jail, he refused to, skip over to the BJP. There is some amount of truck and some amount of respect that you now need to give back in honor. He's stuck by you in your worst of your times. He's gone across the country, sorting out each and every issue that you have had politically. So, you flip the argument, then it's time to give him his due.
And Sonia Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, I don't know how much influence Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has, but I do know for a fact that Sonia Gandhi apparently was among those who assured him this. I'll tell you what happened. The chronology was,
I agree, because they're stuck between a rock and a hard place.